And I am. Okay. So thanks for tuning in this morning. I'm super excited to show you guys some new features that are in Moodle and explain to you guys about interactive content and how Moodle has incorporated interactive content inside the classroom. They're doing more and more with H5P, which is our interactive content plugin. And it's really exciting. I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about interactive content in general.
I still don't understand that. Everything looks like it checks and balances. So I'm
Yeah.
wondering if I've
What
got
is
a finger.
Travis, I think you have your mic on.
Sorry about that.
Okay, so I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about interactive content, talk to you about a few of the ways that H5P, which is our interactive content plugin, about how it's used the most in Moodle, and then I'm going to show you guys how to make an interactive video, which is most common, the way that our instructors use H5P. So some of you guys already use it, and that's awesome. Some of the work you guys do has been great. So if at any time you see something that I'm doing and you do a different way, or you have a certain way that you like to do stuff, definitely chime in. I want to hear y'all's comments, and we can chat about it and have a discussion about it. If you guys have any questions, definitely stop, ask questions. This will be interactive whenever I pull up the classroom and click through and show you guys how to make an interactive activity. So let's talk about interactivity in general. So interactivity is the amount of time that a student spends inside their online classroom. Now, the online classroom is still a little bit different to some of you guys. You guys are more used to being in person with the students, and communication is a lot different. I'm sure you guys have really learned that over the past couple of semesters. So you know that we have student-to-student interaction, which is a group work or discussions or things like that in Moodle. We have instructor-to-student interaction, which could be you having a conversation over Moodle or an announcements forum or even discussion forum if you comment on your students' discussions. And then we have student to content interaction, and that's what we're going to be focusing on. We want to boost the engagement in our students' classroom so that they're in the classroom more. Studies, of course, have shown that the more time a student spends inside their classroom, the higher their grade's going to be. And that doesn't mean working on a paper or reading their textbook for the class. That means spending time inside their online classroom. It boosts their grade, of course. We all probably could guess that. But we want to make sure that we're giving you guys ways to boost engagement, get those students in that classroom, and keep them in that classroom for a good amount of time. And that's what interactive content does. The three main ways that H5P, which you'll hear me saying H5P a lot, that is our interactive content plugin that we have for Moodle. It's easy to create content that has quizzes and videos and games and things that can keep those students in there. You can require them to watch full videos, and it has a test right there in it. So it's kind of like a lesson with you asking them questions throughout the session. H5P is mobile friendly, so the students, a lot of our students do complete their whole classes on an iPad or even sometimes on a phone if they can. H5P is mobile friendly, so that's good to know. And all of our H5P activities can sync up to your gradebook, so that's good to know too. You can set several different settings inside the H5P assignment so that it can be in the gradebook the way you want it to be in, and I think that's really awesome. So the top ways that H5P is used, the first and foremost is the interactive video, and that's what we're going to make today. The interactive video is perfect if you have a video that you've made, or if you have a YouTube video that you've seen that you really like. You can take a link from YouTube, or you can upload a video into H5P and create questions. You can create different activities to put throughout the video so that the student watches the video and then they're being tested on things as well and be graded at the end. Another way that H5P is used popular is the flashcard. activity. So I know some of our instructors use flashcards. It's a great study tool. And then, like I said, you can put a grade with it. So it looks just like regular flashcards with if you had an index card, except it's inside the classroom. So they'll be able to do flashcards that you make. And it's a really easy tool to use. And then it's something a little bit different that the students might not have seen before in another online classroom. And they might take to it really well and engage a little better. And then the other way that H5P is used popularly is the course presentation. So this is kind of like the interactive video. There's so many different things you can do with the presentation, like making a video, putting text on, and you can put questions in that too. Just making these activities, you can mold them to what you're wanting. And then hopefully, like I said, the students will think that it's a little bit different, maybe something that they're used to. We know that the younger generation of students, they love multimedia things. They're all about being on the internet. So we want to make sure that we're giving them things that will interest them. So hopefully they'll stay inside the classroom more. Do you guys have any questions about anything before we get started and we dig into the interactive content? Okay. All right, so I'm gonna start sharing my screen then, and we're gonna get started making an interactive video. Like I said, if you're an instructor and you use H5P, chime in at any time, and if you have any questions, definitely stop me and we can go over some stuff. Okay. So you guys should see my Moodle training course screen. Can I get a yes from somebody or a thumbs up from somebody just to make sure that you guys are seeing what I'm seeing?
Looks good.
Okay, perfect. So you can see this is a regular Moodle course. This is what I use a lot for making videos that I send to you guys for tips and things. So we're gonna get started. The first thing I'm gonna do, of course, is turn my editing on. And we're gonna start by adding an activity the same way that you would add any activity in Moodle. I'm gonna scroll down to my label here for today and click add an activity. So you can see we have several activities to choose from in this activity picker. I'm gonna find H5P. So you can see I have two here. The black H5P interactive content is if you want to put an interactive activity just inside that classroom. The blue H5P will be part of the content bank. So I'm gonna go ahead and go over the content bank with you guys. When I started learning about H5P, I thought about it the same way that I would think about making a quiz. So think about when you make a quiz, you have to have a category, you put the questions in the category, and then you have the quiz. That's kind of how this works. So we're going to choose the blue H5P plugin. Sorry. That way we can add this to our content bank that we can use throughout the classroom. Okay. So I hope that makes sense to you guys. If you have questions, definitely stop me. But we're going to go through this and hopefully you guys will see. I need a name. I'm just going to call this business because the video I had is about business communications. Okay, and now it's wanting me to upload a file. I'm going to choose my content bank here. Now you can see that I've already made one H5P and I wanted to show you guys that. This is the content bank. I want to add to the content bank. Now you can see all the different plugins that H5P has. Guys, there are so many in here to choose from. We could spend all day long going through these and showing you guys the different activities that H5P has. But today we're going to focus on the interactive video. All right, so now we're ready to start in and making this content. We need a title. First and foremost, I'm going to choose business communications. I already typed it in. And this is where we add our video. I'm going to choose add. You can either upload it from your computer if it's something that you've made, or you can type in the YouTube link. I've already copied my YouTube link, so I'm going to paste it in there. Okay, and there are some other settings down here for you to look at. If you want to make a title of your video, that might be helpful. That's what's going to show up on top of the screen of the YouTube video. So if you wanted to put your name with like the chapter. Let's just do chapter 1. That's what they're going to see when they pull up the video. Okay. So this is if you want to have subtitles, you can look inside that setting. Of course, it says unsupported for YouTube videos, but if you wanted to do the subtitles, you would check in there. And we have more settings down here. These are pretty important settings that you're probably going to want to go through. A really cool feature for the video in general is a start time. So if you have a 45-minute video, you know, we've talked about before, super long videos aren't necessarily ideal for online classrooms. We like to keep them, honestly, 10 minutes or less. The student just doesn't stay engaged the whole time. So you can start the video at a certain time if there's certain parts of that video that you think are really important. So that is awesome. Other options here, if you want it to automatically start playing or if you want it to loop. The overrides here are also really important. When you're making an interactive video, of course, I've talked about how you can put questions in this video. So when a student answers a question and they click check to see if they got it right, you can show them the solution. They can click to show the solution. You can also disable this. So it's up to you. I'm going to click disable if I don't want my students to see the right answer. You can also let them retry if you want to. You can enable or disable that. Okay, inside that video, you can add bookmarks. If you think certain parts of that video are important, they can click forward to that bookmark. You can let them rewind it for 10 seconds automatically. You know, YouTube has that feature, I think, now that you can rewind for 10 seconds. And you can prevent them from skipping forward. This is a really important feature because if you have questions, we all know that students might skip forward. Just fill out those questions and then get done with the assignment. So that's a really important feature to stop them from just skipping forward and clicking continue and getting through it. Okay. If you wanted to change something from English, you can do that there. I'm going to click save. All right, I'm sorry, I got out of it. Click edit. Okay, so we've done our step 1. We've put the video in. I have a name for it that's going to show up. And I've done some behavioral settings here. If I wanted to start it at a certain time, I've disabled a couple of things and I've prevented the students from skipping forward. Okay, now let's go to step 2, interactions. This is where we're going to add in the questions. So this video is about business communications. So you can click start watching the video.
How important is your first impression in the business world? Did you know in the business world, 15 seconds could be the difference between fast-tracking your career or watching it stand still for a year?
Okay, so I stopped right here. I'm at 10 seconds and I decide I want to have a question right here. I have questions up here. I have a statement question. I have a single choice set, multiple choice questions, true and false questions, fill in the blank questions. There's so many different options here. Drag and drop. We can mark the words. We can drag text over. Okay, these are all question options. Over here, we have some other features. We can add labels to things. If I added a label right now, it would show up at 10 seconds. If I wanted to add some extra text, if I had comments on the video and I wanted them to pop in, it would show up at 10 seconds. Okay, and I'm going to show you guys some of these, but I'm just going over the top bar here. We can add in a table. Another cool feature I like is the link button. If I'm toward the end of the video here and I decide I wanted them to watch another video or just give them another resource, you could pop a link in at the end of the video wherever you wanted it to be, and they could click that and it would automatically take them out to another video, which I think is really cool. Okay, and of course you can add an image that would pop up at that time. So let's try out a couple of things. Like I said, I'm at 10 seconds and I decide I want to give them a true and false question. I click the question button and I can see, and you can change if you decide, no, I didn't want that to come up until 15 seconds. You change that here. We do want to pause the video because if you don't pause it, that video is going to keep going while that student is trying to answer the question. And we have different display options here, and you will be able to see a couple. I'm going to show you both. So right now, I'm going to keep it as a button. If you wanted to put a label on the question here, you can. And then we're going to have a title here. just like any other question. I'm going to make up a question here. I always use the sky's blue. And the answer is correct, so I'm going to leave it true. And you can do behavioral settings on each question. So we saw behavioral settings in general for the video, and then you can also do behavioral settings for each question. So you can choose, you can let them retry certain questions if you want to by going in the settings of each question. You can let them see the solution on, I mean, if it's a harder question, you might want to let them see the solution. Okay. You can automatically let it check the answer when they choose, or there can be a button that says check, and that's what this is here. You can give them feedback. Some of you guys might want to make it, mold it to be your own and give them feedback on it. Okay, and you can require them to get a full score on the question before they move on, which I think is really cool. If you have several different questions, this one's pretty basic, it's just a true and false. But if you have several different things, sorry guys, in a question, you can require them to get all that right before they move on. So a really helpful tool. One thing I want to talk about now is this down here. Ashley and I have talked about this. If you decide, you make a question and you think, no, I don't want to do this, do not press cancel right here. Pressing cancel at the bottom gets rid of everything that you've done and goes back to the front of the assignment. Make sure you do it down here. Okay, like I just pressed save and it took me back to the beginning of the assignment. Press done instead, and that way you'll stay inside the settings. Okay, so I'm going to press done. I've done enough that I want to, and you can see I have a button here. I can move that. I can make it wherever I want. I can edit it again by clicking on it and choosing to edit. I can copy it if I want it to go somewhere else inside the presentation. If you have several different things, of course, send it to the front or to the back. And now I have a dot down here. That's going to indicate a question. Okay, so let's see what we've got.
Did you know in the business world, 15 seconds could be the difference between fast-tracking your career or watching it stand still for years?
Okay, so I stopped and now I can see it. The student won't see this, but you will see this pop up. They will have to click into the question, and I'll just show you guys that real quick.
How important is your first impression in the business world? Did you know
So I've prevented skipping, so they can't, there's no bar down here for them to skip forward, so that's really nice. Okay, there's a button. I have to click on the button, and then the question pops up. I click true, and we're going to check it, but let's see what happens when I get it wrong. Okay, sometimes if I chose to let the students see the solution, another button would be here that says show solution. If you want to let your students have another retry, I would see a retry button right down here. Okay, or if you don't do either of those, of course you would just press continue and the video would go on. Okay, so let's get back into it. I'm going to show you guys some more stuff. Let's add another question. Let's do a multiple choice question this time. Wait, well, you saw that I didn't move my mouse over to a certain time, but let's say I knew that I wanted it at 20 seconds. Okay, actually let's do 20 seconds. And I want it to end at 40 seconds. Let's just do that. Okay, I want it to pause, and this time I'm going to have it pop up as a poster, and I'll let you guys see what that looks like. Okay. The sky is, and let's do blue, yellow. So I have two options here. I'm going to check mark the one that's correct. If you want to give tips or feedback if they get it wrong or right, you can do that in there. Add a second option here. This is a really cool feature down here with the overall feedback. You can give them feedback on what score they receive. So if they got 0 to 50, you might say something to them, and then if they got 51 to 100, you might give them feedback there. So that's kind of cool. Gonna get those out of there. Okay, again, we have our behavioral settings. Let's do the retry button this time. Okay, here's some more options I don't think I went over last time. A lot of our instructors give 1 point for each task throughout the video, so that's something that you can check mark here. Okay, and let's see how it looks. So I'm going to skip forward just a little bit.
Someone for the first time and almost immediately feel an instant connection. You feel like they could be your best friend? Feels.
Okay, so you see this is up here now. Let's see how it looks to the student. I'm going to go in and take out the pause, prevent skipping so that I can skip forward for you guys and we can get through that. All right.
Immediately feel an instant connection. You feel like they could be your best friend? Feels.
Okay, so it automatically popped up. I'm going to click the wrong one to let you guys see the retry button. Well, did I do that right? Hold on.
Pretty good, right?
Did I choose the wrong answer? That's correct. Let's see.
Friend? Feels.
Okay, so while I'm here, clicking on this will let you see the options up here. So always remember you do have to click on that, and then you can edit how big you want it. I know some of our instructors want the whole screen pretty much to be covered up whenever the student is answering the question, so you can do that. Okay, I'm going to go back in here and edit. That's correct. Oh, I did this show solution. We want to do retry. Okay.
I just read a thing on my computer. It says middle school and up. If you still want the flu shot, then your
I think
parents have
somebody
to
has their
contact
microphone on. Sorry,
the
guys. I
health
should have
department or
muted
something,
everybody.
the clinic. You're not doing it at school. So
All
if
right, now let's see how it
someone
looks.
wants to have flu shots, and you have to call a health clinic.
Immediately feel an instant connection.
Oh.
You feel like they could be your best friend? Feels.
All right, clicking the wrong one here. Okay.
I'm
this
mute,
is-
yeah. So you didn't get your flu shot at school yet?
The retry
The
button.
28th was the day we had to get virtual.
Linda, I think you have your microphone on.
Sorry.
Be your best friend? Feels.
Okay, let's try this again. I'm doing something wrong, obviously. Blue is correct. Enable retry. Okay. All right, that should let me do that. Let me come down here and enable that. I bet I need to go to the front and do the retry. This wasn't doing this earlier. All right, now this should work.
How connection. You feel like they could be your best friend? Feels.
There we go. Okay, so now you guys can see that retry button. I can retry again, click blue, check it. All right, and I get a 1 on that.
It's pretty good, right?
All right, so let's go back into the edit and show you guys a couple more things before we finish this up and put it into the classroom. So we're done with step 1. We've got step 2. If you guys want more information on these types of questions, definitely let us know. There are super easy ways. Let's do a drag text. Sorry. Okay, I'm going to do this at 30 seconds, and I want it to go down at 35. 5 seconds. Pausing the video. Let's do it as a poster. Okay. I'm going to make the name drag text. Now this one, when you do this, and of course you can do the show instructions at any time, the correct answer will need to have asterisks around it. So for example, the sky is asterisk blue. The red. And I'm going to do green. So blue and green are my 2 correct answers. I'm not going to mess with my settings here, but I want to show you guys what that looks like. And because I didn't answer it, it's going to show up here. Okay, so let me make this bigger. And you can see my two options here. You drag them in there and check. Okay, so that one's really nice to have too. I know we have some instructors that use that one. Do I have any questions right now from anybody so far? No questions? Okay, let's go to the next step then. Okay, so you can see this option will appear at the end of the video. This is what the students are going to see whenever they complete the entire video. So most of the time, we don't have very many instructors who do a summary statement. So this would be an ending statement at the end. If you want to wrap up what you've done, you can see here the first statement is the correct one. So they would see statements, they would need to choose the one that's correct, okay? And they call that the summary statement. Okay, you can choose how many seconds you want before the video ends for that to pop up. And I'm gonna press save. All right, so we've added this video. I have 3 questions here. Okay, now let's go into our class and now put it as an assignment. I'm going to choose add an activity. I'm going to choose H5P. Now that video is in my content bank now. So I'm going to go to the files and add. Here's my content bank. Here's the video that I'm wanting. This is a really important feature. H5P now has a way for you to, if you make a setting change inside the content bank, it's going to change it inside the assignment if you choose this setting. If you do make a copy, it's just going to copy and paste it in there, and it won't make changes if you make changes in the content bank. So make sure you choose this setting. Going to select the file. And here we have settings, just like all the other settings in your activities. For a quiz, we have our grades, attempt options, common module settings, all that's the same. Let's save and return to the course. Oh, I didn't name it. Okay, and I can see that it's here. Let's look at it from a student aspect. Okay, that didn't happen a while ago. The content. Well, this is new. Maybe it took a little bit for that to actually upload. That's all I can think of. There we go. I guess it just took a second for it to actually get in there. I haven't seen that before. So if you see that, just try again and hopefully it'll load and get in there. All right, so as a student, I'm going through here.
How important is it to stand still for years?
Here's my first question, and it gives me a button. I have to click on the button to see it. True. 1 out of 1 points. Let's continue.
Take a second and imagine you're at a social event and you meet someone for the first time and almost immediately feel an instant connection. You feel like they could be your best friend? Feels
Okay. Now this is still up here because of the ending time. If you want that to be gone, then you would change your end time for that question to be, let's say, 15 seconds instead of the 20 seconds that it was. So that's why that's there.
you feel like they could be your best friend? Feels pretty good, right? Now,
Okay, so I've got yellow, check it. It's wrong, let's retry. We've got blue and continue.
Feel like they could be your best friend? Feels pretty good, right? Now imagine the next person you meet almost immediately rubs you the wrong way. Not a good feeling, right? The real question is, have you ever been...
And here's my last question. The sky is blue, the grass is green. So 2 out of 2 points there,
That person
continue.
where someone meets you for the first time and you immediately rub them the wrong way?
Okay, do I have any questions at this point about the H5P content? The interactive video that we've made?
Hey, Holly.
Yes.
Now, we had the issue whether it was a star or not a star. Is that not making a difference here?
So, okay, so Linda had a question at one point about the stars. Yes, I will go over that. I need to switch my roll back.
Because, it gives us that summary, or the
Yes.
students a summary at the end and creates that report.
Yes. Sorry, I need to turn my editing on up here and click into it. I'm just clicking wrong. Okay, sorry guys, I need to regroup here for a second. Okay, so you're seeing that I'm trying to go in there and edit that. Normally, if you have a regular quiz or an assignment on Moodle, that's where you would go. But for these, go to your content bank to edit them. Okay, so I'm clicking in there and now I can edit. So I had a little brain fart there. Okay, so what Linda was talking about is the summary report at the end. So you saw when I completed these questions, I had a little star come up. And at the end, we have a star here. That's for the summary report to show the students what questions they got right or wrong, and then for those question and answers to go into the grade book. So we need to add one of these so it'll be at the end of the video. Okay, so we can see, click to add the submit screen. I'm going to move my mouse all the way to the end. I'm going to give just a few seconds. It ends at 3 minutes and 9 seconds. I'm going to do the summary report at 3 minutes and 6 seconds. Okay, add submit screen at 3:06. All right, and you can see now that there's a line there that's showing where the summary report's going to be. So let's see how that looks. I think it'll let me do it through the setting part.
Or watching it stand still for years?
All right, let's save it and see what it looks like. It won't let me do it the other way.
Or watching it stand still for years?
Okay,
Take a second and
let's go to the next question.
should you feel like they could be your best friend? Feels pretty good, right?
And the last question.
The real question is, have you ever been...
Okay, blue and green. Oh. All right.
person where someone...
Right now, I don't have prevention skipping on here, so it's letting me skip.
Absolutely free at www.firstimpressions180.com.
All right, so here's my submit. I can see which questions I got wrong, what my score is. When the student clicks submit answers, that's when it goes to the grade book and they'll have a grade there. Does that help, Linda?
Yes, I just remember things were appearing in the grade book, then some weren't. So I want
Right.
to make sure if people are doing it that they knew about that whole star.
Right, yes.
Here or
All right, so any other questions about H5P
My
interactive video?
question may be related to that, Holly. If I wanted, for some reason, for them to only watch a section of the video, like, 2 minutes of it instead of the whole 10, that, the first 2 minutes or whatever, if I put that star at the end of that 2 minutes, would that stop them from having to watch the whole thing?
I believe so. Let's see. But I think it will, because from the beginning of those settings, you can start it at whatever time if it needs to be the middle, and then let's add at right here. So I've finished all the questions, 1, 2, 3, and let's add at 38 seconds. All right, and then I'm gonna take out the 306 one,
Available at Amazon.com.
and I could do that by, well, it let me a while ago, hold on. I'm gonna press the delete button. Did y'all see me press that with the X so I can get rid of that summary task? And now, let's see how it looks.
Here,
I'll just do one of the questions and let's skip forward.
right? The real question is, have you ever been that person?
Okay, so I had
Where
it
someone
ending
meets
at
you for the
38
first
seconds.
time and you immediately rub them the wrong way, but you felt like you had an instant connection with them?
All right, so I have my questions answered. I'm gonna click submit. Okay, and as long as they click submit, I believe, Tina, was that you that asked that question? I believe it will go ahead and put that in the grade book. I'm gonna make a note of that just to be sure, and I'll check that for you, and I'll get back to you.
I've been playing with this, and I had a video I found that I liked the first 2 minutes of it, but then the last 8 minutes kind of varied off the topic that I was wanting. And so I was wondering if I could cut that short some way, and so I thought that might work.
Sure. Yeah, I'll check that out for you. That's a good question. All right, any other questions? What do you guys think so far about the interactive video?
Seems pretty good.
Holly,
Seems useful.
Yes.
hey,
It
the
is.
only problem I had when I used the interactive video with my students, I used it one time with my field students. That little button click thing, I had 2 of them say, well, I never saw the questions. Now, granted, I didn't have the settings all right because it was the first time for me to do it. So, but I had one that was able to do it no problem, and then I had 2 of them was like, well, I never saw any questions. So I didn't have the video to pause either.
Right. Honestly, yeah. Well, the pause is huge. Make sure you do have that video to pause whenever they need to do the question. And then so far, me seeing the instructors that we have that use it, they don't use the button. They use the poster. That way it's bigger. You can change the size of it and it's just easier to see and you don't skip over it. But inside those settings that I showed too, there are ways that you can make that student answer that question and not give them an option not to. So yeah, inside these behavioral settings and things for the video as a whole, and then the question, make sure you set those settings how you want to so that they have to answer the questions.
Well, I definitely appreciate this because I have to use this next week, starting next week for sure, for my interactive videos in my field class. And I need to make sure they're watching them. This was very, very educational. Thank you so much.
Good, good. I'm glad you guys think so. Also remember there is a tour button up here at the top at any time. If you guys get lost, of course, call us, if you need help, because this can be kind of overwhelming, but once you get into it and you start doing it, it gets a lot easier every single time you use it. So there is a tour button here. Another feature I wanted to show you guys was this copy and paste. So H5P, the way that they've really integrated into Moodle. I mean, there didn't used to be a content bank over here option, and now there is. So you can go straight into that content bank, but you can also copy your assignment. So let me just do it real quick for you. I'm going to copy it. So it's copied. I'm going to go to the front. Let's make another one. Call it test. So I'm going to choose the one I just made, or I'm sorry. I'll just show you guys, I'll pick that one. But then we'll do paste and replace. So you can, if you want to use it somewhere else, you can copy it and put it straight into it. Now there are other ways that you can also, the sharing cart works for this. But like I said, I would put everything into your content bank for your course. That way you can go back to it at any point. Does that make sense? I just wanted to show you guys that there is that copy and paste option. All right, any other questions? I think it's we're getting close to the end. We got an hour. So any other questions? Okay, while we're at it, let's do a flashcard, because those are super cool. So I'm going to go again into that blue H5P. I'm going to my content bank. We're going to click add flashcard. All right, so let's just look through the settings of this. We've got our card. Okay, that's to add a new card. We've got our question and our answer. You can add images to it. Okay, you can give them tips. Let's go to card 1. Sticking with the sky is blue. So let's do okay. So they can choose what their answer is. And it gives them the answer. So that was pretty simple. And it is a really helpful tool for the students, not just because it's easy for you guys, but it's different. It's something that they haven't seen before, and it might spark their attention more than just reading over a study guide over and over and over again. This is something else, another tool, another resource that they can use to engage them inside the course. Okay, any questions? Any comments? If you use interactive content, is there anything that you've found that really helps you while you're making a video?
I have one more question.
Okay.
I do video. Well, I use Screencast-O-Matic to do my video, my PowerPoints with my lecture. Can that be put into this to ensure that they're watching them?
Sure. Well, and that's the thing, you could edit it any way you wanted to, if you wanted to put a question in there too, so that you know that they're watching it, require them to watch the whole thing so they can't prevent them from skipping it. Yeah, I mean, you can do Screencast-O-Matic and put that video straight into YouTube now, and then use it as a YouTube link, and definitely do it as an H5P video.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, Holly.
Yes.
Something that, you know, on the flashcards that I changed up is I also, in addition to the question, I went in and made the card look better by adding a consistent image all the way through it. So that was pretty cool looking too.
Yes. We can, let's do that. And somebody had a question, I don't remember who it was. Somebody had a question and asked if you could take the picture setting off, and I haven't found that yet. You know, they're constantly updating these settings because some people don't want an image at all. They just want the flashcards. So let's look and see what that looks like for.
Well, I mean, I didn't want that either, and that's why I went and found like a picture of like the heart for my CV questions or whatever,
Right.
and just put it on all of them because it looked so odd.
Yeah, just the blank picture. Yeah, so
Yes.
I guess it was you that had the question to see if we could take the picture out. We're still looking at
Yes.
that, but like you said, if it is something, you know, if you wanted to give them a hint with the picture or something like that, you could do that.
And I wanted to know, can you make the flashcards where they do it both directions? Or would you have to make 2 separate cards?
That's a good question.
From my experience, I think you have to, if you want one with an image and then one with a question, you have to do 2 different cards. But that might be changed if Polly knows something different.
I
I mean,
think
I'm
so.
talking about like abbreviations and definitions. Can I make them give the abbreviation or make them give the definition?
Switch the card bank kind of. I haven't seen that, but I'm gonna write that down too.
And spelling is very important on these too.
And you would
Yes.
help us do this if we want to?
Sure, yeah. Let us know. We are wanting you guys to use as much as you can, because like I said, this is really interactive. This will definitely, well, hopefully boost the engagement for online. You know, we never know what's going to happen. They could shut us down. I don't even want to say that, and make us go online. And these would be so helpful, the videos and the flashcards. And like I said, you guys saw me go through the list of different options. So if you see one and you don't know how to do it, definitely reach out to us and we'll get you set up.
And we could make this worth 0 points or as a grade?
Right, yeah, because there are also options. I'll just kind of go over this quickly. There are options where you can have a book, and I won't show you guys that today. Let's get a little more in detail, but you can have a book and have an H5P question in the book when they're reading through it. So it's completely integrated in Moodle now. Now, you asked, I think, was it Daphne that asked if it would be worth a grade? The only grade they would get for that is completing the book, not necessarily checking the answer, you know, and -1, -2, -3. It would just be completing the book. You've gone through and answered the questions. Anything, any other statements? Thank you guys for the comments and stuff. That's been really helpful. All right, well, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. Thanks for joining our seminar. I hope you guys learned some good stuff. Any questions before we end this meeting?
Hope you feel better.
I'm so stopped up. I don't feel as bad as I did yesterday, but I think I sound worse.
Yeah, well, you know, hot, cold, hot, cold.
I know. Yeah, it doesn't help living in Arkansas. Okay, well, y'all have a great weekend. I hope you guys learned some valuable stuff to take with you and try out inside your classrooms. So happy Friday.
Bye.
Thanks, Holly.